What go down with the Major fam today, man? It's Major and we back with another one. Today's topic is Shannon Sharpe and his lawsuit being dismissed. Hey, they said Shannon Sharpe may have broke some bread, man, but this little settlement. Hey, we gonna find out more in this video, but to those of y'all who don't know, Shannon Sharpe has been going through a little lawsuit with a young lady. She was suing him. She accused him of some crazy things, and it may be true. We don't know, but we gonna find out a little bit more in this video because it has been dismissed. But with that being said and done, man, y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all don't even know. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video.
Upload. So a moment ago, it was revealed that this lawsuit, this $50 million lawsuit that was filed against Shannon Sharpe, brought to you by as a very familiar legal name, Tony Busby, has been dismissed. They have not confirmed that there has been a settlement, but all signs point to there being a settlement. Let me just remind you, this young woman who at the time met Shannon Sharpe, she was 19 years old.
Before he even began, I just want to say, I feel like it was a settlement. It had to be a settlement. Like, think about it, man. This man, he's spending all this money on, lawyers and everything. I think he stepped away from, ESPN and all of that due to this situation. So, he going through all of that. So, he losing money, but he not gaining money because, he out of a job. He out of ESPN. He out of, I think he he just out of a lot of stuff because, these allegations being brought up against him. He got to go to court for all of this, and he's basically trying to clear his name. So he like, man, let's go ahead and settle it, bro. Let's go ahead and settle it. And I'm pretty sure he broke bread, and but that's not disclosed that he broke some bread, but I'm pretty sure he for sure broke some bread to go ahead and hush her up and go ahead and get past this, because bro, she wanted 50 million. She wanted 50 million. I know she walking out she probably walking to the bank right now, cashed in that the little check, however that worked. Man, she about to be living lavish, trust me.
$50 million lawsuit against him. Shout out to our friends over at the Shade Room. They remind us that this is what Shannon Sharpe released after this $50 million lawsuit was revealed. He released on his social media some of the text messages between himself and Gabriella Zuniga, who is the woman that was suing him for $50 million, that date back to 2023. Some of the text messages included, only if you want to put that baby gravy in me, then I could do whatever I want to me. Text from Gabriella Zuniga to Shannon Sharpe back in November of 2023. Another one says, I want to put my tongue in your and then marry you. Text from Gabriella Zuniga to Shannon Sharpe, January of 2024. Another one says, that's my daddy. F want you to put a big black baby in me. Text from Gabriella Zuniga to Shannon Sharpe on August 6th of 2024. Then another text says, you better crave it because you're going to be stuck with it for life after you put a big black baby in me.
What?
Text from Gabriella Zuniga.
Man, what? For those of y'all who don't know, this is the text messages that Shannon Sharpe put out when he was first being accused of these allegations and everything. So when he was being accused, he put these text messages out and he was like, nah, this was all consensual. We was texting back and forth. We was in some type of relationship. I don't know if that was his girl, his little side piece, whatever it was, right? They had some type of relationship. That's what Shannon Sharpe was trying to say. And so he put these text messages out, even though, these text messages, is real cringy. Like, baby gravy? Big black baby? Come on, bruh. And then Shannon Sharpe also said, he was gonna fight, he was gonna fight super hard to make sure his name is cleared and all of that. He's not settling and all that. But, we see what it came down to.
Got to Shannon Sharpe on August 11th of 2024. According to Shannon, he says in this public statement, these messages are just a sampling of a broader pattern of graphic sexual communications initiated by Ms. Zuniga. The evidence paints a clear picture that this was a consensual adult relationship that included role-playing, sexual language, and fantasy scenarios explicitly requested by Ms. Zuniga. The edited tape that Ms. Zuniga secretly taped, and we play this for you, where it did sound like it was heavily edited because there was a lot of stops and pauses. I will tag the previous reports on this, but she accused him of a lot of damaging things, including R. So the
Yeah.
edited tape that Ms. Zuniga secretly taped and showed to Mr. Sharp during her blackmail attempts tries to falsely portray, as a result of this editing and out of context from prior text messages, that the sexual activity was not consensual. But Mr. Sharp now believes her secret taping was all a part of her plan set up as a part of her blackmail scheme, as distorted by her edited tape, a copy of which she refused to make available to Mr. Sharp or his counsel. Mr. Sharp categorically denies all allegations of coercion or misconduct, especially the gross lie of rape, and will not submit what he sees as an egregious attempt at blackmail. He stands firmly by the truth and is prepared to fight these false claims vigorously in court. That's important to note with everything that's playing
See,
out.
see, he said he was gonna fight vigorously, bruh. So why did it get dismissed? Why did it get dismissed? He broke bread, but they can't disclose that. Like they can't disclose that he broke bread. And then plus, if they did, let's say, if they did disclose all of that, and that was allowed in the legal system, because I don't think they can disclose these things in the legal system. I don't know why. You know, if one of y'all want to inform me down below in the comments, you know, please do. But let's say if they did disclose all of this, right? Bruh, that's a bad look. Like, it's a bad look just to say that you settled, because in the public eye, like, we gonna be like, bruh, why'd you break bread? If you wasn't guilty, why did you break bread? And that's what it looks like to us in the public eye, because it's like, bruh, you gave up some money, bruh, you were guilty. You wanted them to be quiet and you wanted this to be done and over with. You didn't want your name attached to this situation no more. And so you broke bread, but that makes you look guilty. So that's why, you know, it's usually not disclosed most of the time. That's what I feel like. That's like damaging to the name, because people automatically gonna assume you guilty as soon as you settle.
Now, he looks forward to vindication through due process and a judgment based on the facts and the law. This was just a part of the statement that Lanny Davis, Shannon Sharpe's attorney, had released, okay? Including some of the text messages. But at the beginning of his statement, he said the lawsuit filed by Gabriella Zuniga and orchestrated by her attorney Tony Busby is a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharpe for millions of dollars. It is filled with lies, distortions, and misrepresentations, and it will not succeed. In her effort to extract a large financial settlement, Ms. Zuniga presented Mr. Sharpe with a secret recorded video of a consensual sexual encounter. We believe the video has been heavily edited and taken entirely out of context, crafted to falsely portray a consensual act as non-consensual. Ms. Zuniga has refused to provide a copy of the full, unedited version of the recording to Mr. Sharpe's legal team. To set the record straight, we are releasing several of Ms. Zuniga's own explicit text messages to Mr. Sharpe that clearly indicate the nature of their relationship was consensual and sexual in nature, and in many cases initiated by her with specific and graphic requests. Contrary to allegations she makes in her lawsuit, consensual sex continued until January 2nd of 2025, the day after she asked for $25,000 per cheek, as quoted above from her text message to Mr. Sharpe. It was also Lanny Davis that revealed previously, before he started representing Shannon Sharpe, that Shannon was ready to settle with Gabriella for $10 million, which a lot of us said to us, you offered her $10 million and she refused it, and then she proceeded to file this $50 million lawsuit. I will always say this before when we talk about this, settlements do not mean innocence, and they do not necessarily mean guilt. A lot of times these individuals do not want they don't want the public speculating on this. They don't want the scrutiny to be put out there. They don't want the stories or the allegations, or they do not want discovery, which could dig up a lot of other things that they do not want presented in court or made public. But, as I said to you before, there was this $10 million settlement that was revealed by Shannon Sharpe's own lawyer. So according to NBC Sports, back in April of 2025 of this year, on one hand, they said, attorney Lanny Davis has launched an aggressive defense of the Hall of Fame tight end and media personality Shannon Sharpe. On the other hand, Davis has confirmed that Sharpe has made a very significant financial offer to the plaintiff. During a Tuesday conference call, Davis repeatedly said that Sharpe offered tens of millions of dollars to settle the case before the lawsuit was filed. After several requests for clarification, Davis, after repeating that it was tens of millions, revised his position to say that...
Damn, he tried to settle before the lawsuit was even filed? That's crazy. She said, nah, I don't want however much you giving me. I want more. And she went to court, fought for it, and shoot, it seemed like she got what she wanted. Dang, man. Maybe this is, this would be a lesson for Shannon Sharpe not to be messing with, them young bucks, man. Bruh, I think Shannon Sharpe almost 60. He was messing with a 19-year-old. To each his own, but me personally, bruh, I never understood that. I never understood how, you can look at somebody that young, especially when you that old, and you be like, yeah, like that's what I want. And then especially if you got like kids that's around her age and things like that, I never understood that. But that's a topic for a different day. But I think they for sure settled, cause bro, he already tried to, he already tried to settle before with however much he was settling for it. She didn't want that. She said she wanted more. And, they went to court, and now it's dismissed. So I could believe that he definitely settled for whatever she was asking for.
That it was at least 10 million. Whether 10
Sheesh.
million or some multiples of 10 million, that's a stunning revelation. Davis was asked to clarify whether Sharpe offered 10 million or in the tens of millions. The offer was made in a formal mediation session before Davis was involved in the case, which a lot of people say that's interesting that she decided not to go with the 10 million, which says to me, based off the settlement, she's probably, well, we don't know if it's a settlement or not, but based off of her dropping this lawsuit, says to me that there was some sort of settlement, and we won't ever really know because normally in settlements there is a non-disclosure agreement where neither party is able to talk about the details of what happened. We only found out about Cassie's settlement with Diddy because it was brought up in a criminal trial.
See, I didn't know that. See, I'm telling you, they can't disclose this. Like, I don't know why. Like I said, if y'all do know the answer why they can't disclose this, I'm pretty sure it has to do something with the public and making stories and things like that, treating the person who was accused of something like they're guilty. I don't know, but y'all let me know why they can't disclose this. But yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense why this wasn't disclosed. Like it just says dismissed, and so and like he said in the beginning, the plaintiff can't bring this issue back up again later on down the line. So, hey, what y'all think, man? I think he settled. He broke some bread. I'm telling you.
But now Tony Busby is confirming that this lawsuit, Jane Doe versus Shannon Sharpe, remember Shannon Sharpe was the one who came out and revealed who this person was, doxing her. Tony Busby says in a statement on social media, on April 20th of 2025, the Busby law firm filed a complaint in Nevada making several allegations against Shannon Sharpe on behalf of our client. You may also recall that there was a particular point where Jane Doe's attorneys did not show up to court. That was recently, and it might be because they were working on some sort of settlement. But according to this report from Pro Football Talk, they said attorney Tony Busby explains his no-show at the recent hearing in the Shannon Sharpe civil lawsuit. Per Busby, who has shared a quote from Sharpe's counsel, the hearing had been postponed by agreement of the lawyer. According to this report, they said that there was a hearing on Wednesday in the civil lawsuit against Hall of Fame tight end Shannon Sharpe. There wasn't supposed to be. Attorney Tony Busby has informed PFT that the lawyers had agreed to postpone to the July 9th hearing. Busby shared this statement from Sharpe's legal team. We are apologizing to the court by letter for wasting the court's time. There was a mutual agreement among counsel to postpone the motion scheduled for July 9th. Which, again, I'm not an attorney, but based on what I'm seeing here, they probably were already in conversation about some sort of settlement. My speculation, I'm not saying that's fact. They said, we are apologizing to the court by letter for wasting the court's time. There was a mutual agreement among counsel to postpone the motion scheduled for July 9th. As a result, there was no expectation by our team that her legal team would appear in person. It's odd that Shannon Sharpe's lawyers would have shown up for the hearing if the hearing had been postponed. It's odd that if and when the judge expressed disappointment regarding the failure of the plaintiff's lawyers to appear, that Sharpe's lawyers wouldn't have said that the lawyers had agreed to postpone the hearing. So that's where it feels a little, are you lying? Yeah. But it also says to me that possibly they were working on some sort of settlement and they had not reached an agreement. Back to what Tony Busby is now saying today.
They was for sure working on something. As we could see, man. That was this month what he's talking about. They was for sure working on something, man. I'm telling you.
Back to what Tony Busby is now saying today. He says, on April 20th of 2025, the Busby law firm filed a complaint in Nevada making several allegations against Shannon Sharpe on behalf of our client. Both sides acknowledge a long-term consensual and tumultuous relationship. That's very important because you remember her lawsuit was saying that there were moments where there was no consent.
Yeah.
But we talked about this with the Cassie case. And in any other relationship, there are moments in consensual relationships where there are moments of non-consent and is against the law. Not saying that's happening here, but it's important to note. After
sure.
protracted and respectful negotiations, that's important to note as well, I'm pleased to announce that we have reached a mutual agreed upon resolution. He's not saying settlement, but the words are signaling a settlement. All matters.
Bro, one thing, for those of y'all who don't know, this is a lawyer right down here that's, that tweeted this out and everything, right? But lawyers are very strategic with their words. They have to be very careful with their words. So I'm pretty sure what this mutually agreed upon resolution, that's a settlement. That sounds like a settlement to me. Lawyers have to be very strategic in what words they use, and making sure nobody's not put in a bad light or whatever, because they have to protect they have to protect people's names whether they want to or not. This is what they do for a job. They jump through hurdles and things like that. It's their job. That mutually agreed upon resolution, that's a settlement. Hey man, that's a settlement.
have now been addressed satisfactorily, and the matter is closed. The lawsuit will be thus dismissed with prejudice, meaning that she will not be able to bring this back up later.
Sheesh.
I'm pretty sure this 20-something-year-old woman has walked away with a multi-million-dollar settlement.
Yeah.
So that is the update in regards to this $50 million lawsuit that was filed against Shannon Sharpe. I hope that this was a lesson to him in a lot of different ways. I guess we'll have to wait and see what this means in the future for Shannon comes to, because he did step away when it comes to his duties in regards to his podcast, the tour, and his sporting commentary. I'm sure we will see him return soon, because isn't football season starting now? So if I'm wrong, y'all know I don't do sports. KSBN. Guys, I want to know your thoughts on this update.
Dang, man. That's pretty much the end of the video, but jeez, that's for sure a lesson for Shannon Sharpe. What Monique said, he need a older woman at home cooking some soul food for him, man, rubbing his feet, doing all of that, man. He don't need to be messing with these young bucks out here. Go ahead and stop being a bachelor out here, Shannon Sharpe. Just stop messing with these young bucks. Get you an older woman. Settle down. It's okay to settle down. Nobody will think less of you. Hopefully this comes as a lesson, because I'm pretty sure old girl is getting calls from the bank right now. She walking in the bank. They already knowing her name already off the rip. They already know she got a bag. Man, she probably walking different and everything. Boy, yeah. She about to be living large off of this. But y'all go ahead and let me know what y'all think down below in the comments. I appreciate y'all for even watching. If y'all did make it this far, I appreciate y'all. Y'all make sure y'all binge and watch the rest of the videos on the channel. With that being said and done, it's Major, and I'm gone.